I don't know. I don't try to make this video too long. Let's see where I even start. But honestly, like people are just so annoying, and it's so annoying how you constantly get pulled down by people no matter what you're doing. You go on a long streak, people annoy. You go on a short, like you relapse or whatever, people annoy. I mean, of course, people annoy the worst if you have a real relapse. But even if you just have a reset and you lower your energy, people start annoying. Then you have a long streak, people are intimidated and weak and they are too scared to talk to you and they try to avoid you. People are so weak and it's so embarrassing and annoying to live on the same planet like them because they have normally two different types of how they react. If you're on a high energy, they are intimidated and avoid you. And then if you are lowering your energy because you don't like the intimidation, then some idiot comes around and tries to suck off like a vampire the rest of your energy to feel better himself and will try to put you in your place or something. I don't have enough words or expression to tell you how I feel about all of this. It's just not even appropriate to go too deep into my opinion about this, but in general, it's just too obvious that like 99% of humans are basically animals. They have zero connection to the higher chakras, which makes them equal to NPC. They just live from their lower three chakras. This is how they operate. So they know lust, they know desire, they know survival, and they know how to try to get their own will. Therefore, they are okay with going on your nerves and putting you back into your place or whatever. Just being intimidated because you trigger their lower chakras, whatever. And higher they cannot even go. They don't have the heart chakra. They don't know what virtues are. They know nothing. So I was on a streak recently. I mean, currently I'm always going on streaks. And normally I go on streaks of 2 weeks and then I get frustrated because people get intimidated. But I know how to do it in the future. But this weekend I was just chilling, not streaking, because my girlfriend was on a trip and now I'm back on track. And end of this month she will go back to Japan for a few months. Then hopefully in December she visits me. Then she's again gone. And then she will come for 2 months in a row, twice during next year. And the year after, she can come back and start studying in Germany, and then she will be here permanently. So sometimes I will see her, sometimes not. But I will use this time to go on full Brahmacharya mode, where I will completely stay on retention. Yeah, while she was here, I was already able generally to be on retention. But I just needed to figure out some stuff that is not about her. It's just about how do I handle the whole intimidation factor, because I don't like intimidating people too much. And it makes me always at some point want to reset my energy through some sexual acts to go a bit lower, so that I can more again connect with people. I think this is also important for the job that I'm getting into. I have to sell stuff to people, and so if they're intimidated, I think I get less out of it than if I'm like a magnet and people come up to me by themselves. Anyway, before I relapsed, like girls came to me in the students' bar, but they were trying to look away as if they are not there for me, even though they were standing extra in a position, so I start talking with them. And I think it's cringe, but I realized many other people, girls especially, would just avoid me completely. And I know from the past, also even exactly with the same girls, that this is not always the case depending on my consciousness state and my charisma energy. They would come and socialize proactively, and also I would be in a flow and automatically easily socialize with them. So I know that I can do better, and that my energy was obviously too intimidating, which can also be transferred into less sales acquisition possibilities in my future when I have to go and search for people who are willing to partake in the product that I have to offer. It's not really a product, it's a consultation, investment, and insurance and stuff like this. And we make the optimal combination of any services. We are working on an independent level and will provide the best services. So the product, so to speak, is very good because it's not about just selling something to make own profits, but it is about actually helping the person. It's a type of thing that really actually helps the person and not just us as the sellers. So this is why I believe in this company and so on. But not everything is perfect, and I will go into that as well. Anyway, I decided to lower my energy after people were too intimidated. Then next time I go to the rooftop of one of the students' bars because it was the eclipse. The sun was mostly hidden behind the moon, and then there were also a lot of star showers, or how you call them. So we were watching this, I was there with my girlfriend and so on, and I realized how now the girls were more approaching suddenly. You know, this like when you are fishing for fish. First you do something, and then you suddenly pull your rock, or how it's called, and then the fish already was biting and cannot let go anymore. This is how it feels when you play with your energy and frequency, that sometimes you're too intimidating, but you know they want you deep down. Then you lower your energy. Then they, of course, come because they already have the good impression and memory. And so they are like, oh, now I feel I can approach him. And so they do that. This is how it works. But yeah, then the weekend came and I continued a little bit with the indulgence. Because, you know, when you already indulge and you do it also too early, after 2 weeks or whatever, you feel like now I have not much to lose anyway. Sometimes you're just in such a mood like you have everything. And I don't even want to make excuses for my behavior because it doesn't matter. I do whatever I want. I planned to go on streaks, but I didn't feel it. I was like, fuck it. My girlfriend is away. I have currently a girlfriend. She's currently all the time around. And I don't know. I feel so satisfied at the moment that I don't even need any validation from anyone, is what I'm trying to say. And so I was like, you know what? I will just indulge a bit. But now I'm done, and my girlfriend will go anyway soon, and this is the perfect reason to do Brahmaharya. And it will be also, of course, I guess, easier because you are having less temptation all the time. But I need to do something so that the intimidation does not get high enough. And I have my technique. I will also talk about what I don't like about the company that I'm going to work at. But let me quickly say a few things. Well, first of all, I heard many already retainers, including Donta Young, mentioning how Brazilian nuts, if you eat them, they can recover you quickly from relapsing or resetting. And I can totally agree, Brazilian nuts are great. A bit expensive, but very nice. I just ordered 3 packages, and recently I ate 2 packages, and then I went to Burger King, and then there were, for example, some guys, and they would turn around just to see me because my energy was obviously interesting. So I had a lot of eye locks just from going to Burger King, not only from those people, but from others as well. Yeah, that's all interesting. And in general, I do feel confident, but I'm recovering after the weekend. Now it's just Tuesday. I was having my first call with the entire team of my investment company. And I realized not all of them are on my level. Some of them obviously just have the mindset of selling stuff and getting money out of it, and they're all the time trying to learn how to better pitch their product. I hate all of these techniques. I just want to be myself, and I consider them the rotten part of the company and from the endeavor and idea of the whole company, because I think the way the company is structured is very visionary and positive, and it's a new age company, but some of those people there belong to the old rotten core. We have to heal them basically. People like me have to come and show them the right way. You know, I went to the meeting and one of those guys directly tried to put me in my place and teach me how it's done. Because in the beginning I was directly giving some input and it was very good and well received. So I directly positioned myself like someone who already has knowledge just by existing about psychology of people and so on and how to talk with them. But then at some later point I made a question, but it's reasonable because I didn't even understand the abbreviation that they were using. And then one of those guys jumped in, even though he was not the one that I asked, and he was directly projecting as if I'm asking because I personally struggle in this area, even though it was not the case. And you know, I hate people when they try to explain stuff to you and then they make questions on purpose so that you feel like it's about you and you have to say, yes, I do it like this, or yeah, no, I do it like that, you know. They ask in such a personal way. You know, just ask. You don't need to ask me anything. Just explain your point and that's it. Stop trying to involve me so that I play along in your weird little story structure that you're putting out there. I really hate such people. And in general, I hate introduction rounds. When I'm coming new into a team or something, especially online, and then I have to tell something about me. I'm like, blah, 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 that's it. And then one of them, probably the same guy who was putting me in my place, he was like, okay, we have to work regarding the storytelling, like complaining that my storytelling was too short. I'm not trying to storytell. I'm introducing myself to get over with that bullshit. And I will not storytell when I go out and meet customers. I will just get into casual talks and we will casually start talking about our careers. And then I will at some point say what I'm doing. And if he's interested, he will probably even ask by himself. I don't need to storytell. You know, I hate those people with their stupid soft skill ideas that they think they need to act a certain way to get something out of it and to maximize their profit and sales. And in general, they see everything as a product. That's a concept. I heard about it already many years ago. You can see everything as a product and the world as a marketplace. Like you are constantly promoting and selling yourself, and who goes too deep into this mindset, I really am disgusted by those people. And many times I can see in their physiognomy, right? In their face structure, I can already see what kind of people they are. You know, oftentimes they have a smile that is uneven and one eye is more closed or whatever. And you can directly see if they are like smart asses, like thinking, haha, I just want a quick buck and I get the money and this is how I'm doing it and I'm so clever, and they're like business sharks and they're completely not aligned with what I think my company deep down is standing for. Yeah, that's something I wanted to share. For me, it's important and it's just so annoying. And then those people always are trying to pretend to themselves and to the world. Yeah, we're not even trying to make sales. We're just trying to socialize and to network. And making sales is secondary. We changed our mindset. We shifted our mindset so that it works better for us. And we understood that sales is secondary and making contacts is primary. Okay, to some degree this might be true, but hey, let's be honest, people, you do it for the sales. You would not go out and talk to so many people if it wouldn't be for the sales. So stop lying to yourself and to others and make it sound so positive. This already annoyed me when I was studying and some professor was giving us some task, and then I raised my hand and said, after a few days, I have a problem because this and that doesn't work the way I would like to. And then he said, I would recommend you to change your mindset and not call it a problem, but a challenge. If it's a problem, it's a fucking problem. Go fuck off. I'm only doing it so I get my credit points. It's not a challenge. Challenge is something that you really want to do. Whatever. It's just annoying. It's just annoying. Anyway, like I said, I don't want to make it too long here, and I still have stuff to do. I have homework assignments from my idea of becoming the investment consultant, and yeah, but I have to do something to not over intimidate people and make more people come to me. It worked in the past. I have years of experience in the on the retention journey, and I figured out certain techniques. I'm just normally not using them because I'm not patient enough. Look, the problem is, after 2 weeks of retention, this is when the intimidation starts to hit, and this would make me edge or whatever to lower my energy, and this is not ideal. In general, I would say touching your dick is not ideal at all. You can only like have intercourse with your girlfriend or maybe even with someone else, and that's fine, but you shouldn't just touch it by yourself for edging or whatever. I think this has a bad psychosomatic effect. It will lower your charisma and so on, but you should do the prostate method like I discussed in previous videos, but you shouldn't do it after 2 weeks. You should wait for a month, otherwise it's not pleasurable enough and will make you relapse further. So you have to wait a month, even though the intimidation gets high after 2 weeks. You just have to wait anyway and don't care, and you just have to continue being patient, as if you're just building your streak. And then only after like 30 days you do this method once, then you should be very easygoing and people will by themselves initiate, and you still keep your charisma and everything. And only then, when you wait another 30 days, you can do the same technique one time with corn, because it pushes you even further. But then you again wait 30 days and do it without, and so on. Because if you keep doing it with, it will also be less satisfying, because your system is less hungry for it. But if you do it the way you say, every second time with corn, first of all, you have your chaser effect under control, and second of all, you will emit a certain glow from your eyes, because while corn is dirty, if you deprive yourself for long enough from it and then you see it, it will make your eyes light up like you saw heaven itself. We need to ignore this whole idea of corn is good, corn is bad. Corn has a lot of bad stuff about it, and you can attract negative entities if you overindulge, but if you do it not often, very, very not often, once every second month, it can actually boost yourself, because in your mind it creates a chaser effect. Just in your mind, like you saw something that is so worth it for you, like it's just psychology, you know what I mean, right? And then you go out and you're emitting something like angelic, because you depleted yourself so long from this ecstasy that when you indulged in it for a while, once in 2 months, then you are yourself having ecstatic charisma coming off of you. It's a bit like in Perfume in the movie. Like, it is what it is. I'm done talking. I don't know. Yeah, honestly, the world is probably not ready for what I have to share anyway. But there are big YouTubers like Sexual Kung Fu. They talk about that. They are not that close-minded. Okay, he might not talk about corn, but this is just the next level of what he is already talking about. I'm just the most avant-garde pioneer. And if it's too much for you, like whatever, not my problem. But still, I just want to say, people really annoy. Because like I said, you get on a streak, they get intimidated. Then because of them, you feel like you have to lower your energy. Then they treat you bad. These bastards are the same ones that pull you down, and then they even punish you for it. This is what I really hate. If people wouldn't be such weak wackos who get intimidated and so on, then I wouldn't have to relapse at all or edge or do anything. So now I made this video full circle. I got back to mentioning how annoying people are, and maybe this is also what will be the title. Let's see. And keep in mind, other retainers don't even have answers to the problems that I'm trying to tackle here about the intimidation. I just was watching a video of Rin where he was ranking the benefits of retention, and he was also mentioning some stuff that is less good, and one of them was the intimidation factor, but he still put it rather high, because of course if you intimidate you can also get something out of it, but still, like, he was also saying it's not perfect and he had no solution to it. And I was recently also writing with other retainers in the comments section of a previous video of Rin, and I was telling to a guy how, for example, when I go on a long streak, one time I was in the bus and a woman was acting harsh with me, an older woman, and then he was like, yeah, older women are more desperate, of course, they see they cannot get you, obviously, so they are salty and stuff like this. So again, yeah, you get an explanation for why it is the way it is and that you should just be okay with it, but you don't get like a solution how to fix it. So I think I'm further ahead than these. And he was giving a lot of counter arguments to my points, but then I wrote, look, also when you relapse after a longer time or you reset or whatever, then you are more visible in the spiritual and online field. And I didn't say it to that detail, but of course if you're, for example, on LinkedIn and you're trying to recruit people, sales, generating leads, if you're more visible after you engaged your kundalini in a sexual way, you can also get more conversions, obviously. And he had no answer to that argument anymore.